Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Nick. I'm going to show you a quick demo today of FileFox. So if you aren't familiar with FileFox, it's an automation tool for automating spreadsheet changes. So you can think of it a bit like having Excel macros, but in your browser. So you can do all the same types of transformations, whether it's VLOOKUPs, filtering, date format changes, but you can automate this and define a series of rules that can be applied to future documents. You can also do different types of transformations like pulling data out of a PDF or image and then changing it. So it's quite versatile in terms of what you can do with it. Now, without further ado, let's just jump right into the demonstration. So for this demo today, we're going to look at credit card statements that need to get posted into my financial system. And my financial system requires a very specific type of format. So, we've got a header up here in one of the files. The date column is here, but, we need to change the date format to have the month first. Also the amount column, we need euro included there. So it's a bit messy and we need to make some changes to it. And typically we might just do this manually in Excel, but we're going to use FileFox to automate this whole process. So when you log into FileFox for the first time, you're going to see this. And we break it up into 3 easy steps. So you're going to extract the data from the file, then you're going to transform the data with these user-defined rules, and then you're going to load it. So you're going to send it where it needs to go, you're going to download it directly. There's several different types of options. Now, when you're pulling the data, you can pull it from one of our integrations, like a Google Drive or a Google Sheet or from an email. But for this demonstration, we're just going to pull it locally from our desktop. So we're going to select both of those files. And when you're loading a spreadsheet, it's going to show up with some spreadsheet options. So we can either merge the files, and if there's data in multiple sheets, we can merge those sheets together or split them out. Now in this case, we just have one sheet, so we're just going to take the first sheet. And FileFox is now going to pull all of that data and pull it into our system. And you're going to see it like this. Now, if I click on Manage Extractions, then you'll see these files here. Now, you'll notice here there's a mapping column, which is super important because this is where these rules that I've been talking about can be defined and automatically applied. Now, we haven't defined any of our rules yet, so we'll do that in the demonstration, but I have some predefined mappings which we could select and essentially jump to the load step. Now, we're not going to do that because we're going to define our rules, but theoretically, once you have your rules defined, then you can just apply them here. So now that we have our data extracted, we're going to jump to the transformation step to start defining those rules to change the data into something our financial system is going to like. Now, we got this ugly header here at the top. So what we need to do is apply some table rules that will get applied to the whole table. So these are things like filtering, removal of duplicates, sorting, things that get applied to the entire set of data. Now, when we start to add rules here, it's going to look like this. So we can add more rules if we want, but we're just going to define one for now. So what we'll do is we'll select a rule type, and we've got a lot of different types of rule types here. Now, what we're looking for is the one that's specific for the headers. So what we're going to do is we're going to say start columns and rows. So we'll say, okay, we're started in column 1 and started in row 7 so that it only picks up the transactions. And we'll click save. And there, you see that it's now applied that rule to the data. Now we need to work on some of these data columns. So date format needs to be changed. So we'll click add column rules over date. And we'll select rule type. And again, you'll see some slightly different conversion rules here, and again similar to Excel, but you'll also see some FileFox specific ones, some fuzzy rules and some things that you won't find normally that will really save you some time. Now we'll say to date format. And here we just select the end date that we want. So we just want it to be this type of format with the month first. So let's select this. And you also notice a few more things here. So we've got add condition. So this allows us to add a condition, sort of like an if-then type of statement. So if certain criteria is met, then apply the rule, or don't apply the rule, we can also say. So again, if it contains certain text, then apply the rule. If the date is between certain dates, then apply the rule. In this case, we want it applied to everything, so we won't do that. And then one more thing I have to point out as well is that under add functions, you can add more rules, but you can also add validations. And validations won't transform your data, but they'll perform checks on your data. So you can say if a value is negative, highlight it in red. If a value is greater than €1,000,000, highlighted in yellow. You can start to add validations that will do checks on the data and help you clean it up and review what you've gotten. In this case, we're not going to apply any, we're just going to say the date. And then when we save it, you can see here that it's changed the date to have the month first. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to select one of our predefined mappings, because I'm not going to go through and define every single rule. I'm just going to apply a mapping that we already have. And there, you see I've selected this mapping, and now you can see that it's applied it to this whole set of data. So it's split out the description, it's fixed up the amount column with the euro there. And if I go to manage extractions, then you'll see I can also apply that mapping to the other set of data. And I'm going to select that and show you that even for this set of data, it's now changed it as well. So now I can go to the load step and complete this process. So what I first want to do is actually just merge these files, because they've now been transformed and they both have 4 columns. So I think we can combine those. Now we have one file. And what I want to do is I just want to do some reviews, just to do some checks on here. So I'll do show all rows, view all of the data. And you know what? This is not supposed to be negative. I'll just make that last final change. And then we're looking good. So we can finally start to send it where it needs to go. So if you click on selected destination, you can see here we can send it to another one of our integrations. We can send it via email as an attachment to one of our colleagues if necessary, or we can just download it directly. So actually, I'm going to just change the file name, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select CSV, because our financial system only accepts CSV for uploads. So I'll select that, apply destination, and then finally you just click process, and it starts to download that file. And then you're done, and that's it. And you can see that it's a pretty simple process, and it really is going to save you a lot of time. So thanks for joining, and I hope that this really shows you what FileFox is like and how it can save you time and make your life a little bit easier. Thanks.